All right, it's time to get the latest update in the world of business, as usual. Tolulope always has that for us. Tolulope Gunjobi, I know that you have it all.
A lot is happening in the world.
All right.
Thank you so much, Precious. Well, let's start from the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria and the Nigerian Actuarial Development Program have raised concerns over the severe shortage of actuarial professionals in the country, warning that the gap poses risk to credible financial reporting in key sectors such as insurance, banking, and healthcare. We have more in this report.
Nigeria's economy continues to expand. Concerns are rising over the shortage of financial experts. To address this gap, the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, FRC, is taking the lead in promoting actuarial education and capacity building. That's why the Executive Secretary and CEO of FRC, Rabiu Olowo, is at the University of Benin in Edo State to drive up awareness on the Actuarial Development Program.
We have less than 28 qualified actuaries in Nigeria today. That cannot support the $1 trillion economy that we are looking at. That cannot support the economic emancipation that Nigeria has in terms of GDP figures. We have about more than 200 universities in Nigeria today. Less than 8 offer this particular course. So we see it as a problem, and that is going to affect the future success of Nigeria. And we'll begin to address this gap by coming to universities, giving awareness, doing advocacy, so that students can understand what is actuarial science and what the profession has in it for them.
There's an interface, a very big connection between what certain professionals do as it relates to financial reporting. And actually, they are very, very key. As one of those, we must rely on their work in the entire financial reporting space. But then we now observe over time that there's a big gap, huge gap in terms of core professionals, those we can call actuaries.
For many, this advocacy outreach reflects the FRC's strong commitment to strengthening actuarial education and developing industry capacity.
If you look at any profession in Nigeria, there is no regulator that says he wants to pay for the examination fee. We don't do it for accountants, we don't do it for auditors, we don't do it for tax practitioners, we don't do it for lawyers. But this is because we are in crisis now. So NADP has taken up upon itself to support them. So all the hurdles that affect the development of actuarial profession or being qualified is what NADP, Nigerian Actuarial Development Program, wants to remove.
With the Financial Reporting Council and its key partners championing this sensitization initiative, there is no doubt that the actuarial profession in Nigeria is set to gain the momentum it needs to thrive in the near future.
The federal government and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization have signed a $175 million program for country partnership. While signing the agreement in Abuja, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, said the program was to accelerate Nigeria's industrial development and economic transformation. According to him, the initiative aligns with government's Agenda 2050, the National Development Plan, and the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. Senator Bagudu said while Nigeria's absorptive investment capacity ran into hundreds of billions of dollars, the PCP would catalyze the private sector and broaden access to capital.
This program also shall help draw attention to our over 23 months of President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's bold and courageous reforms, which were necessary to convince the private sector, both domestic and international, that we will do all that it takes, including taking a risk that Mr. President took to correct distortions in the economy, so that we are not choosing winners, but we are creating a competitive economy that will favor all participants in the private sector.
Our PCP is a key tool for effective implementation of Nigeria's National Development Plan, the President's Renewed Hope agenda, and the second 10-year plan of the African Union's Agenda 2063.
Well, the stock market reversed trends of losses and moved the little into the positive territory following renewed interest in stock picks. The market index recorded 0.01% at the close of transactions, meaning mild improvements and price recovery for some investors. Top price gainers start with Africa Prudential Insurance with 9.75%. Other gainers were Guinea Insurance, Mansard Insurance, RT Briscoe, and Transcorp Hotel. The price decline has included Livestock Feeds, PZ, Mutual Benefits, UACN, and Quartix. President Donald Trump announced the longer-awaited Liberation Day reciprocal tariffs, imposing a minimum of 10% tariffs on all countries and additional levies on approximately 60 nations deemed the worst offenders. During his address, President Trump displayed a chart listing the countries subject to his higher tariffs, with China and European Union and Vietnam facing rates of 34%, 20%, and 46% respectively. Other nations, including Japan, South Korea, India, Cambodia, and Taiwan, would be hit with import duty of 24%, 25%, 26%, 49%, and 32% respectively. Trump's administration previously announced a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles and auto parts going into effect today.
Discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it.
Well, Donald Trump there. Now, moving on, crude oil prices fell by as much as 3% today, but that's after U.S. President Donald Trump announced sweeping new tariffs that investors worry would inflame a global trade war that will curtail economic growth and limit fuel demand. But U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell to sell for $69.45 per barrel, with a downward review of 3.15%. Brent crude futures sold at $72.74, with a price decline of 2.95%. Bonnie Light sells for $78.62, with a downward margin of 2.84%. For the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $77.43, with an upsurge of 1.72%. Well, that's business at this hour. Next is sports after this break. Stay with TVC News.